I started doing comedy. I mean, I didn't intend to. When I went to acting school, it was a drama school, but everything for some strange reason it turned into comedy. And my teacher used to get angry at that. But then he would tell me at the end, but that was very funny though. So it just became a natural thing. And then I started to get into Puerto Ricans, Latinos, and why we weren't on TV, why we were portrayed so negative. You know, then West Side Story came on, and I loved West Side Story until somebody told me that we had nothing to do with that. I said, oh my God. So I went to therapy for that. It was a nightmare. I mean, you know, the idea that Natalie Wood, you couldn't tell me she wasn't Puerto Rican. I would have like died for this girl. And then when I found out she wasn't singing.
You gotta save this, because I have a clip of you saying this, so maybe we should just cut to this clip now. Why did you begin doing stand-up comedy? Can you tell me?
Yeah.
Obviously it was because of Natalie Wood, I'm sure.
Yeah, she played a great part, a big part in that, you know? Really, you know? I mean, can you imagine Puerto Ricans getting together in the schoolyard and saying, hey, did you like Maria and What's That Story? Oh, she wasn't really Spanish.
She didn't sing either, I hope you know. And she didn't,
of course, she wasn't doing her own singing. That wasn't even her legs. But anyway, that's another story. I mean, it's the kind of thing, I mean, this movie, going back to the, you asking me how I started? I'm going too fast, right? Okay.
So, here we are. We're back, and you were talking about Natalie Wood 5 years ago, and we're talking about her again, so.
Wow, we're back so soon? So I started doing stand-up comedy, and I was doing what the comedy club owners weren't too comfortable with. Right. I was doing like material that nobody ever talked about. Spanish TV, how could Spanish TV be owned by Hallmark? Hallmark, a Midwestern company. What the hell do they know about Spanish TV? So when I started to talk about these things, everybody got very nervous. You know, and I mean, all kinds of things. Goya, why does Goya have white people sending us beans? For God's sakes, you know? You know, Ronzoni Solaboni would never do anything like that, but of course we would do something like that. So all those things started to get people nervous and stuff, you know, and that's why, out of frustration, I finally got together with, it was Ben's idea, actually, to do the film, The Puerto Rican Mambo, because I was having a hard time. The club owner used to tell me, well, do the beach, Louis, that's funny, but don't say this and don't say that, and don't talk about Spanish TV, and don't talk about Goya, and don't talk, and I said, then I'm not going to do it. So we found one particular club on Bond Street where me and Ben actually met, and that's where I was able to do exactly what I wanted to do and say what I wanted to say. And from that moment, me and Ben got together, and the film became a dream, and it's.
Yeah. I was doing film comedy, but mostly on film through high school and college, and primarily visual humor. That was my main interest. And after being thrown out of film school for creative reasons in 1986, I started doing improv and stand-up also at this place on Bond Street called the First Amendment, taking classes and performing and stuff like that. And I was able to finally learn about comedy and storytelling, what I had hoped to get out of film school. And through our friendship, we got together, and I had this idea to make a nice, short, cute little 12-minute movie out of Louis' material, because I had just seen the same 20 minutes of his act. And we got together and went over his material, and I wound up with like 2 hours worth of script. And I just decided to go ahead and do it on a real, what's now known, it's now fashionable to say your film cost, $8,000 or something like that. This is 1989, before it was chic,
Right.
Back then, people said, don't tell anybody what your budget was, because then you will never sell it. Now it's like, there's a competition to see how cheap did your film cost after El Mariachi, which was like, everybody knows it costs $7,000. Nobody knows what it's about, but everybody knows it's $7,000. So the cheaper your film is. So back then, I did it for like $8,000 or $9,000, got the whole thing in a can. Everybody in the film were friends of ours from the improv group, plus a couple of people who sent in headshots, including somebody who is now very big shot, John Leguizamo, is in the film. He did a great job. We were very lucky to work with him at the time. And it's a long process. We shot it in the fall of 1989 over 8 days. With a small crew, me plus 3 or 4 other people, real small scale, people's apartments, on the streets, stuff like that. And gradually got the film, I was able to cut the film and got it into some festivals, due largely to some publicity that I didn't even count on. A friend of mine named Robert Waddell works at the New York Times and knew some writers and hooked me up with them. And one guy from the Times interviewed us for the About New York column, and we figured, okay, we'll meet with this guy, but nothing will ever come from it. And then a month later, boom, we're on the front page of the Metro section, and I had 60 Minutes, 2020, the William Morris Agency, Miramax, New Line Cinema. These people were all calling me. Premiere Magazine send over a reporter to watch us answer the phone. And then we were Flavors of the Month in Premiere a few months later, and then the London Film Festival called me, and the San Juan Cinema Fest called me, and we were just in. There was no, they just said, send me your materials and you're in. And we were able to show the film. The world premiere was in London because Goya Foods had the film thrown out of the San Juan Festival. What's nice that's happened is that in the last few years, the film was released theatrically, and Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, and a lot of the other critics gave it very good or rave reviews. And we now have a home video deal, and the film will be in stores presently.
It is in stores.
And in October of 1995, the film was finally shown in Puerto Rico at the San Juan Cinema Fest, and we're very happy about that.
Right.